Hi, first graders. I'm so excited for today because we are going to get to start our realistic fiction unit and start making up our own characters. To get started, let's look at one of our favorite realistic fiction authors, Sadia Faruqi. Sadia, here's a picture of her growing up in Pakistan. We know that she's the author of the Yasmin books. Here's a picture of her holding one of the Yasmin books. And here's a picture of her husband and her two children, and they're at a book signing at a library. Now, Yasmin is a pretend character. She does not really exist. Sadia Faruqi just made her up. She made her up as a pretend character. The Yasmin books are realistic fiction. Let's all say that together. Realistic fiction. Realistic fiction stories have made up characters. The characters have problems that could happen in real life. So in Yasmin the Explorer, there could be a girl who gets lost from her mom at a farmer's market. That sounds real. And in Yasmin the Soccer Star, there are people who feel afraid to try new sports. So in realistic fiction, the characters are made up, but the problems and what happens to the characters seems real. Now, even though Yasmin is pretend, Sadia Faruqi put pieces of her own identity into Yasmin. Let's see how she did that. Let's listen to Sadia Faruqi talk about her identity and see which pieces of her identity we see in Yasmin.
Work, I write a lot about first generation characters, characters who are kids who are born in the US, but they have parents from other countries. I am from a family like that. So I grew up in Pakistan and I came to the US as an adult, and I have two kids who are growing up over here as first generation American kids. And so I see their challenges.
So we just learned that Sadia Faruqi was born in Pakistan, and she likes to write books about kids who are first generation, who were born in the United States, but their parents were born in another country. So now let's see. How are Sadia Faruqi and Yasmin's identities the same? And how are they different? Over here, this red circle is all about Sadia Faruqi, and the blue circle will be all about Yasmin's identity. And this part in the middle, where the two circles are overlapping, that's where we can talk about what Sadia Faruqi and Yasmin have in common. That's the same. So let's think. How are they different and how are they the same? People are saying that Sadia Faruqi was born in Pakistan and that Yasmin was born in the United States, right? People are also saying that Sadia Faruqi is an adult and she's a real person, and that Yasmin is a pretend character and that she's a kid. What do they both have that's the same? People said that Pakistan is important to both of them, right? And that even though Yasmin wasn't born there, it's important to her. Both Sadia Faruqi and Yasmin have brown skin, and they're both Muslim. That's their religion. So the fact of being Pakistani, having brown skin, being Muslim must be really important to Sadia Faruqi's identity, because she gave those parts from her identity to Yasmin. So when you go off to write, you're going to write realistic fiction. You're going to be making up your own characters too. And you're going to think, what parts of my identity do I want to give to my character? We started doing some of this yesterday. You looked over your identity webs and you thought, which pieces of your identity do you want to give to your characters? And if you remember, I looked at my web and I thought, what's most important to me? Well, I live in New York City and I love living in New York City. I don't want to live anywhere else. That's so important to me. So I want to write about a character who also lives in New York City. And being a big sister is another part of my identity that's really important. And I think it would be nice to make up a character who's also a big sister, who shares that with me. And my dog Kirby. When I was a kid, I always wanted a dog. So when I make up my character, I'd like to give her a dog as a kid. So those are some parts of my identity that I want to share with my character. So when you go into Seesaw, you're going to find an activity called Making Character Identities. Here are the instructions. Time to create your own character. Writers create characters for a reason. They often put pieces of their own identities into the characters they create. When you create your character, think, what pieces of your own identity do you want to give your character? Complete the slides to create your character. So I'm gonna go into the slides, and now I get to make up my pretend character. Next week, or even later today, you're going to start writing stories about your character. So it's time to name your character. Let me think about a name that I really like. I love the name Sophia. So my character is going to be named Sophia. Now, there are really people out there named Sophia. Like I know that Lucas's cousin is named Sophia, but my character is not Lucas's cousin. My character is somebody that I'm just making up right now. And my character's age, how old should she be? I'm thinking that she's going to be 7 years old, like a first grader. And now it's time to think about some family members that my character has. I know that when I read books, they always talk about their family. Well, I know I want my character to be a big sister. So let's see, she's going to live with her little sister, Betty. And Betty is going to be 4 years old. And she's also going to live with her mom and dad. Now it's time for me to think about some friends for my character. Well, when my character goes to school, she's going to be sitting with and playing with her best friend, James, and maybe her best friend, Abigail, who she'll also be friends with. I like that name too. Now, let's move on. What are some things that my character likes? And I'm going to think back to my own identity. What do I like that I might want to give to my character that's really important to me? Well, my character is going to love her pet dog. That's what she's going to like. And she's also going to like being outdoors, like being outside in nature. Now it's time for me to think about something that my character does not like. I'm going to make my character somebody who does not like surprises. She doesn't like when something new and surprising happens. And I'm also going to make her not like, she doesn't like trying new foods. Okay. And on this last page, what does your character look like? Draw a picture. I would draw a picture of my character. Well, let's see. I'm going to try to find a color that matches my skin tone. I think I'm going to make my character have the same skin color as me. So let me erase that. And drawing my character. I'm not sure if this is closest to my skin color, but I'm trying. And I'm going to give my character blue eyes because I have blue eyes. And I think I'm going to give my character straight hair. I know that I have curly hair, but I think I'm going to give my character straight hair. Okay, and you can think about what you'd want your character to look like, and then you can hit submit. Now, First graders, it's so important that you take your time to create your character today because soon you're going to be writing stories about your character. Off you go.